Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Shannon and I love rocks and gemstones. And rock tumbling is one of my favorite hobbies, and it gives me a chance to work with all sorts of crystals and rocks and gemstones. And today I'm going to take you through my entire process tumbling smoky quartz. And you'll see the entire cycle from rough all the way to this finished, polished end product. And at the very end, I'll show you my timeline and the recipe that I used to get these polished stones, to get this finished product. And I used just the Rotary tumbler for the entire process. Now, I've had a lot of questions about tumbling quartz because the quartz family is hard. It's Mohs hardness 7, so it is fairly resistant to scratching, but it is actually pretty fragile and delicate when it comes to tumbling and gemstones bashing against each other. It's really prone to chipping. And so there are a couple of extra precautions that I take while tumbling quartz, and it usually involves adding a lot more cushioning and making sure that at certain stages the gemstones aren't hitting each other in the tumbler. Now, smoky quartz is a member of the colored quartz family, and it's a dark brown. Well, actually, it's just brown. It may appear black or gray sometimes, but it's actually a brownish color. And the depth of the color varies from very, very light to very, very dark like this. So you'll have a wide variety of light gray, medium to dark gray in your batch of rough. But let me show you that. So let's get started and let me show you the rough. Okay, today I am starting some smoky quartz. I've had this rough for a long time, and I've had a lot of people ask me questions recently about tumbling quartzes, and they've had some troubles with quartz. And so I thought I would throw in a traditional quartz because the Girasol opal isn't quite traditional like a rose quartz or clear or amethyst. And so I'll take you through the whole process of tumbling a quartz, because while it is hard, it's Mohs hardness 7, it is not very tough and can be very fragile in the barrels. And there are some tips and tricks to that. But this smoky quartz is really pretty. As you can see, the depth of darkness varies in the rough. You've got some pieces that are pretty dark here, and some pieces that are fairly light gray. But as this is against a white countertop and paper towel, you can still see that even the lighter ones are more gray than they are clear. All right, so I will get these in the barrel with the coarse grit, and we'll see them again next week. Here's the smoky quartz after 1 week in coarse. And while all of the pointy edges are rounded, it still needs a lot more work. But you can see the nice variety and the different shades of black and gray in this smoky quartz. This is going to be really pretty. But this is going to need at least, I'd say, another 2 weeks in coarse, because there's just lots of surface imperfections. But it's like a nice, see, that one looks almost like clear quartz, but it's just a little on the gray side. All right, let me get this back in a barrel with more coarse, and we'll see it again next week. The smoky quartz has just finished its 2nd week in coarse, and it's shaping pretty nicely. I do think I remember that amethyst took about 4 weeks in coarse to really get the surface imperfections out and ready to move on. But I'm just enjoying the variety of the shades of gray in these stones. Really nice. So glad I started the smoky quartz, because I mean, it's not like black. It's like a dark gray brown. It's different from the other black stones that I have tumbled before. So I'm going to give these a good wash off, because I think there's still some slurry on some of these. And then get this back in a barrel with some more coarse. Here's the smoky quartz after about 2 weeks in coarse. And it's looking really nice. It's shaped well, but there are still parts that need some smoothing, and these cracks and crevices are too big for medium to work out. So this is definitely going to have to go back in coarse for at least another week, but it's looking really good. It's looking really close. And again, I just love the variety. We've got some that are really soft gray, some that are really dark, and it's really beautiful. I'm really enjoying this smoky quartz. So let me get this back in the barrel with some more coarse grit, and we'll see it again next week. All right, this is our batch of smoky quartz, and it's come to a point in its tumbling where there are some that are ready to move forward into medium and some that still need some more time in coarse. So what I'm going to be doing with this batch is splitting it, which means looking at every single rock and seeing which one's ready for medium. This one is. And then which ones could use a little bit more time in rough. And that would, or coarse, I should say. And then, so some will stay and some will be moving on. That could, yeah. And yeah, so it's just a process of looking through them all. And then, you know, then I decide if I only need, like, if only a third of this batch needs more coarse, then I can move it into a smaller barrel and free up a bigger barrel. But yeah, this is the smoky quartz. And last week I split this batch and I picked out the ones that looked like they were ready to go on to medium, and I set them aside. And then I put the rest that could use some more coarse into a smaller barrel with more coarse. And as I opened it up today, I saw that there really was a lot of coarse grit left in this, and that the stones inside still needed some more work in coarse. They're not what I would move on to medium at this time. So what I'm going to do is, one, I'm going to take out a little bit of this ceramic media because I think I put too much in it and it prevented the coarse grit from really doing its work. So I'll take out a little bit of the media, put in some more coarse grit, and keep that running until next week, and then see if this is ready to combine with the others and move on to medium stage. Here is the partial batch of smoky quartz that I had continued in coarse, and it's looking much, much better. But there's a couple pieces like this one that I'm going to take out because I'm really afraid that that little knobby is going to break off and ruin the rest of the batch. So I'm taking a few of these ones out, and yeah, these are looking really good. They've smoothed out a lot more since I put them in this batch. Yeah, that's looking nice. That's great. And then here are the ones that I picked out earlier that were already ready to go on a medium, and I'll combine these two back into the bigger barrel and get these running in medium grit. So this is the Smoky Quartz after a full week in medium grit, and it's looking really smooth. The surface is really smooth and it's shaped super nicely. It's looking perfect for moving on to fine and extra fine. And this is the stage when things can go wrong. And you really have to make sure that you look through your entire batch to make sure that there's none at risk for chipping or breaking. Last week I took out several that looked like they could break or pieces could chip off. Because you get one that chips apart or cracks, and it's just going to ding around in your barrel and start chipping everything else up. So I am taking out this one because you can see there's a part there that looks like it could chip, and it could actually just break in half. So, whoops, sorry. I'll put that one in a bucket of other quartz that I'll throw in with another quartz, batch later on, and it can still tumble, but it shouldn't go on with our fine and extra fine grit here. So let me get these washed up really, really good and get them in with some fine grit. Here is the Smoky Quartz after a week in fine grit, and it is looking beautiful. I think I told you before that once we get to fine and extra fine grit, that's when things can actually just fall apart. Because any type of chipping at this stage can cause chipping and damage to the entire batch. But I've filled my barrel really full of ceramic media to cushion so that the grit can move around there amongst the rocks and grit, but the rocks do not actually hit against each other without any impact. So everything's looking great. I'm going to give these a really good wash and then get these into extra fine grit. Okay, the Smoky Quartz has run its full course in the grits, and it just finished a week in extra fine grit. And looks really nice. I didn't see any evidence of any additional chipping due to damage in this state. So it looks like I cushioned it really well. I didn't see anything else broken, just those hazards we look for at the very end stages to make sure that we don't have to go back and do something over. And it's looking super nice. So even though I did rinse them off really well, I have them in here ready for a wash cycle so that we can get all of the grit and all of the slurry off of the media and the stones and any kind of imperfections and out of the barrel lining itself, because the barrel lining holds a little bit of that slurry even if you wash it with a sponge and soap and water. And if you'd like to learn more about the wash cycles, then check out my Rock Tumbling 101 course. The link will be in the description below. And I have a whole module on wash cycles, how to do them, and what I use. So I'm going to get these cleaned up really nice and then into some aluminum oxide polish. Here's the Smoky Quartz after 1 week in polish, and I'm going to check on it. So I'm going to pull one straight out of the polish barrel, rinse it in a bowl of clean water, and dry it off with a paper towel. Once it's dry, we can see really how shiny it is, and that is pretty shiny. Nice. Let me see one of these darker ones in here. Rinse it off. Then dry it off. can see that really nice, gorgeous shine on the quartz. Yeah, super nice. So I'm going to rinse all of this off. Then I'm going to put it in a burnish cycle with water, soap, and a little bit of borax. Get these all really clean, get all of the polish residue off of the smoky quartz, and then I'll show you some video of the finished product. Thank you so much for joining me today and watching my process of tumbling smoky quartz. It really is a wonderful and beautiful quartz to tumble. There's lots of variety in the depth of color, and I hope that you'd like to go out there and tumble some quartz and you feel more confident with its more fragile nature. I know you can do it. Now, if you're new to tumbling, if you just started, make sure to check out my Rock Tumbling 101 online course, and I'll link to that in the description below. It's a series of videos where I take you through the entire process of learning how to tumble gemstones and being able to buy your equipment, your tumblers, your supplies, and perform all the steps so that you can finish your first batch of tumbled stones. And that is in the link below. And if you're an experienced tumbler and you'd like to see how I tumble a wide array of gemstones, then make sure to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a single gemstone video. Thank you so much.